Hello there, welcome to our vision session. So in this session, we're going to talk about how 1 in 10,000 people essentially create vision and what it is you need to do to make sure you are one of those 1 in 10,000 and why it's so important. Very few people, very few, do the very basic first step, which only 1 in 100, which only 1 in 100 people will do, which is name a vision for their life in the first place. Like actually name and even take it as far as writing down what it is they want to create. As basic and simple and obvious as that sounds, if you're listening to this right now, you probably can't pick that piece of paper up right now next to your bedstand or on your desk where I tell people to plant these things. On my nightstand, I have my vision. I have the key things in which I want to fulfill in my life in the next 20 years, 5 years, 3 years, and a year. And therefore, I'm very clear on what am I doing today and why am I doing it? And I have the same thing written down on my desk. And so, I am very clear on where I'm going, what I'm constructing in my life, the blueprint for the life in which I want to live. And very few people will ever take the time to stop and go, what's the life I really want to live? What are the goals I have? What are the aspirations I have? And literally just name a vision for themselves in regard to the different aspects of their life. Name a vision for your body and your health. Right? Level of fitness you want to attain. Name vision for relationship. Name vision for career and impact you want to have. Name vision for the level of wealth or money in which you want to create. Right? Name a vision for the way in which you want to be in service. Right? The experiences you want to have. The trips you want to take. Like whatever it is. The cool widgets you want to maybe have or experience. Like a new car or fabulous outfit or something. I don't know what your thing is, but it's like if we don't name it, it can't happen. And even though that sounds so obvious, very few people ever take the time to do it. And even fewer people, if they do it, put it somewhere they pay attention to it on a regular basis. And so, it's just a matter of getting started. And so if you literally do nothing more than name and look at where you want to go on a regular basis, you're ahead of most other people in terms of what you're going to be capable of creating in your life. And then what is it that we need to do after that, right? After we name what it is we're looking to create, the second thing we need to do is essentially understand, how are we going to create that? And how do we start to basically bridge the gap from this thing in which we want to, from where we are to the thing in which we want? And it's as simple as putting attention to it every day, like I just said. First step is naming it. And then the second step is acknowledging it with regularity. Pay attention to it every day, which is why we got to put it on the nightstand or on our desk. Because a lot of people, if they've ever named a vision, they put it on a vision board, they thought about it for a day or two or maybe a week, then it ended up in a drawer somewhere and you forgot about it or just got thrown away and you never looked at it again. And therefore, it didn't play the role of providing context to your life and the day that you're living and why you're living that day. And if you don't know why you're living the day you're living, if you don't have a sense of purpose in your life, purpose comes from the reason for living, right? The vision in which you have for your life. If you're waking up without a sense of purpose, you're waking up miserable. Most people are depressed today, are sad today, are feeling, a lot of pain today, not because they're broken, not because anything's wrong with them, not because they need a bunch of pills, but they're lost and they're in a pain today because they don't have a reason for living. They're just kind of getting up and going through the motions of their day. If I got up and I didn't have a sense of where I was going and why I was going there, I would be miserable. I wouldn't have a sense for why am I living this day? What is the reason I'm doing all the things I'm doing? And so whether that's tied to your family or you want to make a difference in the world or you just want to see who you can become, whatever it is, it's got to be defined through the life in which you're creating. You're molding the vision in which you aspire to. And so number one, name vision. And then number two, if you've named a vision, do what only 1 in 100 people. So if you have 1 in every 100 people name a vision, and you took 100 of those individuals, only 1 of those 100 will focus on it with regularity, will name it with consistency. And so that second step is as easy as acknowledge it daily. Even better, twice a day. First wake up, just read it. It takes 10 seconds, do your day, and then before you go to bed, read it again, do your day. I bet doing nothing else, that will start changing your behavior, your outlook, the way you feel, and the way you start thinking about your life if you did nothing more than provide context for what you're doing and why you're living your life, right? By doing those two things. And then the third thing that we want to add is as we try things, as we have ideas on what's going to bridge our gap from where we are to where we want to go, we've got to measure and evaluate along the way. We've got to have a way of going, man, am I moving closer toward that vision I want to create and the outcomes I want to fulfill? Am I making no progress toward it, or am I actually moving away from it? And if we start to just pay attention to, am I moving closer toward the vision, the life I want to create, or am I moving further away? All of a sudden, we have a compass, we have a guidance system where we can start turning the wheel left and right so that we stay in the lane toward our vision, right? It's kind of like if you drove down the road in your car and you kind of centered it in the lane and just let your hands off the wheel and just let the car go, it wouldn't be very long before you're in the ditch. Like it happens a lot faster than you think. Sometimes I get bored driving, so I put myself in the middle of the lane and I let the wheel go and I just keep pressing the gas. I see how long does it take for the car to veer off the road? It's seconds. Like within seconds, the car's going in some random direction. This is how most people live their life. They just start going in some random direction, not even realizing that they're going in some random direction because they never had a destination named in the first place. Or if they did have a destination named, as soon as something else showed up in their life of interest or that was stimulating or that was simply there, all of a sudden they're heading in the direction of what influences them based on what happens to be in the space of their life and what's there, as opposed to evaluating, should I be engaged with what's here relative to who I want to become and where I want to go or not? Because once you start to live decisively in that way, you're going to up-level the quality of your life very quickly. And that takes a little bit of measurement, a little bit of evaluation, like whatever it is. If you want to make more money, you got to go, man, 6 months have gone by, a year has gone by. Am I positioning myself to make more money or not? If you want to enhance your relationship, hey, am I in a better, healthier dynamic within my relationships? Or are they getting worse, right? You got to measure this stuff. Am I getting fatter or am I getting more fit, right? Am I gaining weight and the wrong kind of weight? Or am I gaining muscle? Am I looking a little better in the mirror? Like you gotta measure this stuff if you want to create performance. Because if we're not measuring and evaluating, then we don't know if we're in the lane or not. And so the only way to know if we're in the lane is we got to measure and evaluate. The only way we can measure and evaluate is if we've named what we're going to create so that we have something to measure and evaluate. And so, it's like all these things build on each other. And again, these are very simple in idea, but only 1 in 10,000 will do it with consistency over time. And those 1 in 10,000 are the ones living the best life. Right? The best lives possible. They're realizing their potential. They're the ones that you look at and you're like, man, how are they doing that? Well, I can tell you they didn't get lucky. It didn't happen on accident. It was intentional. And it's because they're doing these 3 key things. And so wake up tomorrow and start doing these 3 very simple things and just see what happens in the course of the next month or 2 in your life. And I bet the quality of your life significantly up levels. Number 1, name a vision you're going to live for, tie it to some benchmarks. Number 2, acknowledge it daily with consistency and regularity. And then 3, just evaluate, measure once a week, once a month. Hey, ask the question, am I moving in the direction of what I want to create? What am I doing to make that happen? Or am I not? And if I'm not, well, what am I doing that's taking me in a different direction? Stop the things taking you in a different direction. Start doing more of the things that are obvious to or are producing the results in which you aspire to. And those basic mechanics, although they sound very simple, are so very powerful if we start to apply them with regularity. And so play with this, move toward a vision, and we look forward to seeing you soon.